Let's talk about Daredevil, the director's cut. Now, Daredevil, of course, I saw it in the movie back when it came out. I thought it was okay. I'm a big Daredevil fan. As you can see, I have my little Daredevil collection shelf there. One of my favorite Marvel characters, probably my second favorite Marvel character. Definitely top 10 favorite comic book characters. So, I love the Netflix series. That's top 5 TV shows of all time. So, Daredevil's a big part. We're doing a Daredevil stream right now, depending on when you're seeing this video. Every Friday, we're going through Frank Miller's run of Daredevil. So join us on Fridays for that. So I thought, you know what? I hadn't seen the director's cut in a long time. I bought it. I bought the movie on DVD, then I bought the director's cut on DVD, then I bought the director's cut on Blu-ray. Haven't watched it in a while. So I popped it in again, and we're gonna talk about it using my space system. So story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gives a score between 0 and 2. 2's the best you can get. If a movie gets a 5 or 6 out of 10, that's kind of like a pass, right? 7 or 8 is really good, and then 9 or 10 is like, wow, this is like amazing. So I'm gonna have to give the storyline on this one a 1. The problem is that there's just too much going on. You hear this all the time. Oh, there's too many characters. It's not even that there's too many characters, because there's always a lot of characters in these kinds of movies and sometimes they're just background guys. Like, have a hint of Bullseye, have a hint of Elektra. I mean, to put it to you straight, like, Karen Page does nothing in this movie, and Karen Page is a big part of, at least in the beginnings of Daredevil. I started rereading Daredevil from number 1. I'm on number 26 or something like that. And I mean, really, this first movie should have been Daredevil, Foggy, Karen, and Kingpin. That's it. Instead, you have all these other extra characters, Bullseye and Elektra. They mess with Elektra's origin. I just picked up the first appearance of Elektra at a show just recently. It's right there. Like, why did they mess with it? It's like they just meet in the thing, and you're like, eh. And even if you don't care about comic continuity, and a lot of people say, well, I didn't read the comics. Okay, well, that's fine. But if you didn't read the comics and they just met, like, this is like 24 hours of them meeting and all this stuff goes down, and you're just like, well, that's weird anyways. See, that this is the problem. If you start to streamline stuff, you start to lose some of the essence of the story, and then it just becomes a bit silly. There's also a lot of goofy things that happen, like Daredevil Matt starts immediately like kind of fighting with her, and you're like, what is happening here? Like, why is this happening right now? Foggy, we'll get to characters. Anyway, so storyline, and then you've got this whole Coolio trial, and I get it. The director's cut kind of makes it a little bit more, but I think I like the original cut better than the director's cut, actually, because it's a lot shorter. We're going to talk about pacing next, and I think for the pacing, I'm going to give it a 1, because this movie's 2 hours and 13 minutes, I think, and it's just long. And for that length, you could have gotten better development out of the characters and a bit more of a straight line story. It's just like, oh, the Kingpin's bad because he's just bad. Oh, here's the backstory of the Devil Murdoch. Like, really, it's a movie thing. You couldn't call him Battling Jack. Like, they had to say, oh, the Devil Murdoch, and he has the devil horns. So then that way it makes Daredevil's costume make sense. I hate this kind of, I've got to explain the costume or why it looks why it looks that way. Just call him Battling Jack. Like, does it really matter? And then even as a kid, they're like, I dare you, kid, I dare you. You're like, okay. Anyways, whatever. Look, I mean, it's nitpicky stuff, but unfortunately it does kind of, stand out as being weird. So pacing, yeah, it's kind of slow in the middle parts. The Daredevil stuff is cool. We'll get to the artistry. I think for the artistry, I'm actually going to give it a 1.5. It looked pretty good. The music was good. And then again, at the time, the CGI now looks a little weird. But I liked that they tried to bring Daredevil to life. Like, you see stuff like this here. One of the negatives of the Daredevil television series by Netflix is that you didn't have that sense that Daredevil's jumping around the city. Like in this movie, he's touching stuff. And I'm going to give the artist, oh gosh, the effects are kind of not that great. I'm close to giving it a 2. 1.5 is fine. The thing is that, like, the radar sense is wicked. Like he'll hit something, it's like, and you can see all of it. You can almost imagine how it was in the comics where they'd have those circles kind of going around. I wish they would have done it a bit more of a red tint as opposed to the blue tint, but whatever. There's a part where Jennifer Garner, who's Elektra, is standing and the rain is touching her face, and all the little dots of the rain are kind of forming her face so you can kind of see her. The way they realized the powers was super cool. Daredevil's the billy club's awesome. It's like, and he's like doing all the cool stuff. That's pretty neat. So they did try to do the best that they could. Again, effects, like the artistry category is not just saying, the effects were good or bad. What I'm saying is that they did the most that they could do with what they had. And I think they did a pretty good job. I can't give it the 2 because, it could, the suit is still a little bit kind of these 90s suits, and Bullseye has no costume, so that's irritating. I don't know. There's some irritating parts, but otherwise it still looks pretty good. The characters, this is a tough one. I'm gonna give it, I want to give it 1.5 for the characters, because I actually do like Ben Affleck as Daredevil. I think they did some cool stuff with that character, like how he sleeps in the coffin with the sound, so it dampens everything. That's kind of neat. It shows how he lives his life as a blind guy. He's got the little tags on his shirts, and he folds his money different ways so he knows what bills he's handing out. That's kind of neat. So I like him. I thought he was a good. I'll give it 1.5. I like him. He was good. Elektra is awesome. Jennifer Garner, I really liked her a lot. But again, a bit of a silly intro, but then once the fights start to happen and then Bullseye kills her and all that, that's pretty cool. So I do like her. Bullseye, I like Colin Farrell actually a lot. In most of the movies I've seen him in, I really liked him. But I don't know, it's just like this Bullseye's weird. It's like, I don't know. Bullseye, no. So Kingpin, I kind of didn't mind Kingpin. Like, he looked pretty menacing, that's for sure. Michael Clark Duncan, was he too muscular? Like, I know Kingpin, he's chubby and he's got muscle. It's more like just like, muscle. The problem is that once you've seen Vincent D'Onofrio in the proper form of the Daredevil television series, not these offshoots, when you see him in the proper form, he's bloody amazing. I can't even now think of anyone else now. Like, the next guy's gonna have a big, if they continue Daredevil for a long, long time, and if there's Daredevil's movies and shows, 40 years from now or whatever, who's gonna play Kingpin? I don't know. It's gonna be tough. This is gonna be one of these. Oh, he's not as good as Vincent. Obviously Charlie Cox is friggin' awesome as Daredevil as well. Everybody in that show is awesome. I'm not even gonna review that show. It's just awesome. But yeah, I like Michael Clark Duncan. I didn't mind him really, but it's just maybe too muscular. And then he gets like his legs broken, and you're like, what is happening? I don't know. They introduce all these characters. Well, let's get into the enjoyment factor. Enjoyment factor, I'll give it a 1. I liked it. It was okay. They had a lot of cool things, and there was some neat kind of ideas, and they tried to do it, and I think they tried to give you too much in one movie, and you're just like, you tried to give me too much in one movie, and now you didn't really give me much of anything. And that's a 90s thing too. It's like, it's like these Batman films. Oh, let's shove in 4 villains. Oh, 2 villains. No, let's get 3 villains. Let's get 4 villains. Or 4, like Batman and Robin, you're up to 4 characters coming in now besides Batman and Robin. You're like, okay, whoa, what's going on here? Because you got Bane in there too. And it's like, what is happening now, right? So this is just this weird thing that they're like, oh, let's give you more. Dick Tracy, let's put every Dick Tracy villain in this movie and then kill them all. You're like, well, that's not very fun, even though I really love Dick Tracy, the movie. So I think Daredevil suffers from that a little bit. But so overall, a 6 out of 10. It's okay. I'll give it a pass for what it is when it was made. There's some enjoyable parts to it. I don't think this is a dumpster fire movie. I certainly think it's better than many Phase 4 films, maybe all of Phase 4 except for Doctor Strange 2, which I really liked. All the other ones, I could just leave them all. So there you go. There's my review of Daredevil Director's Cut. It was okay. It's meh, 6 out of 10. That's it. Until next time.